Alright guys, so I hope you're ready for this next step in this very difficult lesson. We're going to talk about computing with scientific notation. We're going to start by first multiplying two values in scientific notation. So you can see in example 1 that we have this value in scientific notation and it's right next to another value, so that means we're multiplying those two. Alright, so we're going to be multiplying, and scientists need to take these really large numbers and compute with them. So we're going to figure out how to do that, in case just maybe down the road you're a scientist. Anyway, so here is the skill. So notice that the number in scientific notation is multiplication, and then you're multiplying it by another number written in scientific notation that's also multiplication. Looks like we only have multiplication. So we can apply some very important rules or properties of multiplication. Multiplication properties say that we can move the factors around, and we can also regroup the factors. So you see that we have one factor, 2 factors, 3 factors, 4 factors. Well, guess what? Since it's all multiplication, we can move all those guys around. We're going to move the regular old numbers together. All right, we're going to use commutative and associative property to put together, what symbol do I want to use there? I want to use the dot. We're going to move the 7.2 and the 1.6 together. And we're going to move the powers of 10 together, these guys. All right, 10 to the third times 10 to the fourth. All right, so it's the same exact values, it's just that we move the factors around using commutative and associative properties to make this a little bit more simple. Now, this first product right here, a little bit tricky. We're going to have to go off to the side here and do some scratch work. So 7.2 times 1.6. Remember, when we're multiplying decimals, all right, we count up the decimals at the end, and that's how many decimal places our answers is going to have. So let's quickly go through this. 6 times 2 is 12. Carry the 1. 6 times 7, 42, plus 1 is 43. Now, I'm going a place value over, so I need a place value holder of 0. Now I'm going to multiply through by 1. 1 times 2 is 2. 1 times 7 is 7. Now I add this up to 5 and 11. I count up my decimal places, 1, 2. So I know that I have to have 2 decimal places. All right. So I have a value of 11.52. And that's going to be multiplied by, now we have this power of 10. Now we have the product of powers property, one of our laws of exponents. So we keep the base and we add the exponents. Add these exponents. All right, so that's going to give us to the 7th power. Are we done? Well, very clearly this says express the result in scientific notation. That's key. We have to write it in scientific notation. So if it's not in scientific notation, we have to change it into scientific notation. Is this number right there, is that in scientific notation? No, it's not, because that value is not between 1 and 10. All right, so we have to make it in between 1 and 10. The way we do that is we move the decimal over, so we get 1.152 times 10. Now, just like my wife spends the money and I gotta go make some more money to make up for it, all right, we notice that when we change this number, 11.52, to 1.152, it got smaller, so the exponent has to get larger to compensate. And then we have our answer. All right, now, you might want to write in a bunch of notes off to the side here to say what I did, because when you come back to these notes, you're going to need to have some notes to remind you, oh, this is what we did. This is why we did that. All right. So let's go on to these extra examples. We'll do 2 practice problems, and then we'll stop right there. All right. So I'm going to write kind of small, and I'm going to try to explain what I'm doing clearly. Okay. So this first one, we're going to use commutative and associative property and put the 8.4 next to the 2.5, and we're going to group those. And then we're going to multiply that by the powers of 10. All right, so all we did was we just grouped everything, the common types together. We moved the factors around using commutative and associative property. All right. First step. Now we have to do some scratch work. We got to do 8.4 times 2.5. We do this quickly. 42. Put our place value holder. 8 and 16. Add them up. 0, 0, 1, 1, 2. So that's 21. And we have 1, 2 decimal places, 1, 2 decimal places. So that gives us 21. Now we're going to multiply that. We use our product of powers property. There we go. And we add those exponents. So that's 10 to the 8th. That's going to be the product of powers property. Right? So that's that part right there. Just multiply or simplify the value here by multiplying, and then we'll use our product of powers property. Jeez, I can't say it. All right, now the last step is seeing, oh, is this in fact in scientific notation? We notice that no, it is not, because it's greater than 10. So if we look at our decimal here, we notice we have to make that smaller. 2.1 times 10, and it went from 21 to 2.1. That made it smaller. So to compensate, I have to make my power of 10 bigger. All right? So then we have to rewrite in scientific notation using our little compensation trick. Whew. All right. Try this next one, see how you do, and pause it, and then see if you get the same as me. All right. Here's the work. Ready, set, go. Commutative and associative property. So we're going to do 2.63 times 1.2. Group that, and we're going to multiply that by these 2 powers of 10. So that's 10 to the 4th times 10 to the negative 3. All right, I need some space to do my scratch work here. 2.63 times 1.2, that gives us 6, 12, carry 5 there, and then we get 263. Add them up. All right, that gives us 31.56. Oop, wrong, Mr. Woodworth. I'm rushing because I don't want this video to be too long, but I got 1, 2, 3 decimal places this time. So my decimal is going to go 1, 2, 3 places in, and I get 3.156. I'm kind of excited about that because it's already between 1 and 10. Woohoo! All right, now I got to do 4 plus negative 3. 4 plus negative 3, I get 1, value of 1. And I am all set. That's a nice one. I don't have that final step because this number here is already between 1 and 10. All right. So hopefully that gets you on the right track. Just the very first part of this lesson. I think it's difficult, but it is the easiest and most straightforward part of this lesson. Hopefully it goes well for you.